kukho abasentshona koloni, Western Cape, abase-Northern Cape, abase-Gauteng, abase-Northwest, abase-Free State, abakwaZulu Natal, neMpumalanga, khona endibashiyayo, Limpopo. Ndifuna ukuthi kwaba baseMpuma Koloni, you have a very important task when you live here. Zenithi xa nidlula eMthentu nijonge eBhityi niyazi uba nizawudlula eQunu. Apho uDalibhunga alele khona ze nimxelele onyana kaNosekeni noGadla Mphakanyiswa Mandela alale ngoxolo ngoba umsebenzisi uphethe. Ndiyayazi uba kukhona nabasuka eChristiani ecala. Zenithi xa nidlula kwaSabalele apho uChristiani avela khona nithi umsebenzisi uphethe. Ndiyayazi nokuba kukhona apha abantu baseQawukeni apho uOliver Tambo azalwa khona. Zenithi kuphondo lweNdlovu abaxelele uba umsebenzisi uphethe. All over our country, there are heroes, men and women who fought for the South Africa we deserve. They are no longer with us. We are here because we don't want them turning in their graves because of what our country has become. It is not just Mandela or Oliver Tambo or Chris Hani. There are many others. And we need to recognize the historical importance of what we are doing, not just today, but going forward. But I want to thank all of you for being so dignified in doing this work. I did not expect any less. I knew this would be a dignified occasion. You are showing South Africa that politics can be serious. You are showing South Africa that politics can be about the people. I thank you for that. We have other guests here. Diplomats, people from civil society, academia, business, leaders of political parties, members of the media, and the beautiful people of Mzansi watching at home. I welcome all of you. and thank you for spending this short time with us. When I stood here 2 days ago, I shared with you the collective thoughts of the National Leadership Collective of Rize Mzansi and some of my deepest held beliefs. These beliefs were embedded in my soul by my grandparents, my family, and my village, Zwelicha, in Mkanduli, in the Eastern Cape. These include that no neighbor should die of hunger when I have some food. It is a belief that my neighbor's child is also my child that I need to protect. It is a belief that a community is not a group of houses built next to one another, but a space of sharing fears, hopes, and celebrating the success of each other's children. Today, I stand here not to speak for myself anymore, or the national leadership team of Rize Mzansi. We all are now part of an army of people who care very deeply for this country of ours. After 2 days of discussion and connecting with one another, you no longer represent just yourselves. Sitting here are the hopes and dreams of the people you left behind at home. Your children, your sick parents and grandparents who otherwise needed you at home, the suffering relatives and neighbors you support with the little that you have, the people you have never met, but you have heard of their suffering in the news, and you made that suffering your own. I am proud of all of you. The leadership team is humbled by you. We are in awe of all of you. Your commitment to this mission, your love and respect for one another, your humility, your grace, your patriotism are an example of what is possible in South Africa. You represent hope for our land. I am honored to call you my brothers and sisters. It is a privilege to share my South African heritage with you. This weekend has been emotional, deep and meaningful. We spoke about love of self, our families, our communities, and our country. Some of you are going back to jobs tomorrow. Some of you are going back to look for work, to look for hope, to protect your dignity. Some are going back to loving homes, while others have no homes to go back to. Some are going to towns, others are going to villages. Some are going home to brick houses with electricity and water, while some are going to corrugated iron structures with no water and no electricity. So what must we tell the people when we get back to our families and communities? What must we tell them? We must tell them that we are just like them. We are also suffering. We are angry, but we are not powerless. For those who want land, we must tell them that we want land too, because in this venue are people who need land. To those who say they want jobs, we must say some of Rize Mzansi's volunteers and supporters don't have jobs either. To those who are victims of crime and are frustrated with bad policing, we must show them that we are also victims of crime and want to be safe in our homes, in public spaces, and in places of work. But we must also tell them that we are different, because we have decided to stand up for what we deserve. We have decided to rise for the future our children deserve. We have decided to fight for the kind of communities we want to live in. We must tell them we are warriors for freedom. We are unstoppable fighters for justice and equality. We are servants of our communities and friends of the hungry, of those with little or nothing. We must tell them the only promise we can make is to support their struggles with love, with humility and commitment, that we will never leave their side, even if our collective struggles make little progress. We must tell them we are here to ask them to hold up the sun from setting on our hopes and dreams. We are here to make sure that the night is quiet and the winter is short, and that freedom, joy, and prosperity will come in the morning. But most importantly, we must tell them we are nothing without them. Rize Mzansi does not stand apart from the people. Rize Mzansi is the people. Rize Mzansi is for the people. We will not succeed in our mission if the people are not front and center, if they are not in the battle. We must tell those who think we are political service providers that they must choose from, that those days are over. That is the old politics of stadiums full of people waiting to hear another round of false promises and exaggerated achievements. South Africa is no longer divided by color. South Africa is divided between those who want to fight for what they believe in, who are the people here, and the people who sent you here, and those who want to wait a little longer, even as people suffer. We are looking for those people who are sick and tired of being sick and tired. We are looking for the brave. We are looking for warriors. The fight is on, and it will not stop until we get what we deserve. This fight will not end until those who came before us stop turning in their graves, because the future looks bright for the country. Before I conclude my remarks, I want to talk about the declaration, and I will read it. A declaration is a very deep promise. It's a vow. It's a commitment. The most important part of our declaration, and you will see it in full later on, read as follows. The preamble. We, the people of South Africa, organized under Rize Mzansi, declare that we are social democrats with a mission to build the South Africa we deserve in one generation. We stand for a constitutional democracy where the constitution is a supreme law and the people govern. We are guided by our values of freedom, equality, justice, solidarity, and integrity. We are committed to our vision to reset South Africa and build a safe, prosperous, equal, and united society where everyone can live a happy and dignified life. We recognize that South Africa has a painful past of violence, dispossession, and apartheid whose injustices are yet to be resolved. The great hope, dreams, and commitments of the 1994 democracy breakthrough have been betrayed by successive governments. The people of South Africa are talented, visionary, and hardworking. They deserve a country that is led by the best available leaders committed to building this beautiful country. We commit that a Rize Mzansi government shall eradicate poverty and racism and inequality and ensure the employment of people. We will elect the most capable and ethical leaders to represent South Africans in all institutions of democracy. We note that the scourge of violence and its trauma needs urgent action if South Africa is to succeed. We commit that our democratic government will include the active involvement of social movements and civil society. The declaration goes further and commits to injecting new ideas into the following 6 broad areas that affect our communities and families: individual and family well-being, the community, nation building, governance, economy, the climate crisis, and the environment. You've heard all the report backs over the last day. This declaration represents a new and profound mission. For this and future generations. We dare not, and we will not fail. Declarations are meaningless without action. They are worthless without commitment. They produce nothing if only known and shared by the few. So this declaration must be known to everyone we know. We must wear it on our sleeves, in our hearts, in our minds, in our actions, in times of struggle, in times of joy, in times of sadness, and in times of hope. It must be discussed in every home, every school, every university, every college, every sports field, in the churches, in the mosques, in synagogues, in temples, and in the villages, in towns and cities. It must be a way of life. Leaders, we must go to every South African who remains unsure, afraid, skeptical, and cynical, and say that now is the time to wake up. Now is the time to fight for what we deserve. Now is the time to rise from Mzansi. I rise. We rise. I rise. We rise. We rise. Together. We rise. Together. Together. We rise. Tua, 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 urubarete. Tua, tua, urubarete. 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 Muzansi ubata maraiza urubarete. Tua, tua, urubarete. Tua, 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 urubarete.
And those are live visuals from Constitution Hill, where the new kid on the political bloc, Rize Mzansi, concludes its three-day People's Convention. Zibi, the party leader, encouraging those that are sick and tired of being sick and tired to form part of the army of people who care deeply about South Africa. He says, we are suffering, we are angry, but we are not powerless. And he's calling on warriors for freedom, those who are socially or social democrats who want to see change come in South Africa. What also stood out is saying that the event was no surprise to him because they want to professionalize politics, that things can really work if we put our shoulders to the grind and call on everybody who shares in their ideology to put their hands up and get into cleaning up South Africa. So that's the Constitution Hill event there of Rize Mzansi. We'll be speaking to my colleague Aviwe Mtila, who's been attending the conference for the past 3 days, to give us his input in terms of the objectives, the turnout of the delegates, and what had been resolved, or the resolutions that came out of that meeting.